Hey y'all, it's your legal bestie attorney Simone, and this is another episode of Girl Is That Legal. We've got a few different things on the docket for tonight. Now, it's Friday night. I know y'all be thinking I'll be in the streets all the time, but I am actually exactly where I want to be, here with you guys. Hey y'all. As you know, I'm like coming off of my vacation after handling the Diddy trial, getting back into the swing of work. It says that was crazy. They needed a line. Wait. That crazy, they need to line up. Okay, I don't know what you're talking about. We'll figure it out. But here's what we got on the docket for today. All right, we've got Jay-Z and Beyonce need a loan. We've got Cardi B is being sued again. And I'm also going to drop the line for legal call-in. I have been getting a lot of requests for consultations. And I want to remind you, you can always go to my website, which is simoneredwine.com. It's also in my little header here. Click the top right here, and then you just go to book, hire attorney Simone, and consultations. There you go. You can book, pay, schedule right here. It's loading, but there you go. You can pick which type. There, just to let you know, the only consultations that are free are for auto accident, personal injury, any of that. You book it right here on this site and they're free. Other types, because of how those cases work, they do require a consultation fee. For 30 minutes is $200. But yes, I would be happy to help you guys there. But also, it's Friday. I ain't got nothing else to do. Well, I do have other stuff to do. I have more work that I could be doing, but I'm going to drop the link in case y'all want to call in and have a legal question answered. Now I'm going to let you know, I'm a lawyer. I'm not your lawyer, but if you want to give me a scenario that you, a loved one, whoever are going through, I'm going to drop you this link. You do not have to show your face. But there you go. There's that. I'm going to pin that real quick as y'all come in. Let me know where you're watching from as y'all come on in. I'm going to pin this comment just so that everyone can see it. Let's see. I am this one. I'm going to pin it. All of a sudden, I turned the air off, and Lord, it's hot in here. I miss y'all. Oh, I really need to comb my hair. Well, I mean, I did comb my hair, but y'all, it's a lot going on. All right, we got the link. Here, let me pin it. If anyone wants to pop in, get your legal questions ready. Again, I'm your homegirl. We're going to talk like I'm your homegirl drunk at brunch. Well, you guys are drunk at brunch. I'm just your homegirl. You have a question and I get a chance to answer it. I'm just going to break it down for you as I would anything for my girls drunk at brunch. So what we're going to start with is Beyonce apparently needs a loan. Bless their heart. Am I frozen? No. Okay. I think I'm still okay. Beyonce and Jay-Z both, to be specific. Here, let's share that tab. And here we are. They need a loan. Oh, I see you guys. Oh, we got Arizona. We got Philly watching, Tucson. Hey, everyone. It says, I also have a question. Am I a fan of Jay-Z? Are you biased? Can I see through the illusion that's been put out there? I'm 42, so I was outside when, Jay-Z was introduced. Jay-Z was, no, I'm not really biased with anyone that I don't personally know. I just know the law, and I base mine on the law and the facts. But tell me what you think. I understand, like a lot of people with the Jay-Z in the situation with his son, they have a lot of concerns that basically Jay-Z is using his money, using his wealth to manhandle this young man and to prevent his day in court from proving that Jay-Z is really the father. Particularly, many people think that Jay-Z is probably the father in light of the noses that the two boys have, as well as the fact that the argument is that Jay-Z did not want to submit to a paternity test because it would show that the young man's mother was a teenager, 16 at the time, and Jay-Z would have been 22. Now, I covered earlier this week the fact that Ramir Satterwhite, the young man who's claiming Jay-Z is his father and wanted him to take a test, dismissed his lawsuit. However, many have reminded me and placed in the comments that he plans to refile it. I don't know why he would dismiss it and refile it, aside from trying to file it in a different state. This time, Ramir has filed it in California. Previously, he had it in New Jersey for about 4 years, and then he had it in Pennsylvania for a number of years, as well as New Jersey. Now it's in California. So we'll see. But the more that he does, at the end of the day, the law is the law. And because other states have ruled on the matter, you cannot go to a different state to get a different ruling under the law of res judicata for the most part. Now, but if he's claiming that Jay-Z is now a resident of a new state, he may be able to get some action there. And at the time, it actually seems California, of all the jurisdictions he's tried so far, would be the most favorable to Rahmir, because California does not put a cap on how old you can be to confirm that as an adult who your father is, whereas Pennsylvania and New Jersey cap it at 18 and 23. So it seemed like California would be the best bet. So we'll have to find out, why is it that he dismissed his own case? Someone has asked, why is he allowed to file in different states? Well, he's not. Well, technically you're not. But what did happen is in the prior states, I know in New Jersey, and I believe also in Pennsylvania, or at least in New Jersey, they said that is not Jay-Z's state of residence. So if you file it in the wrong state, in a state where the defendant doesn't live, you're allowed to go file it in the correct state. What you can't do is get an actual ruling on the merits and be like, I don't like this, I'm going to go to a different state. Can't do that. It says, but it's not Jay-Z, it's just not Puff. This is not R. Kelly. It's just not Russell Simmons either. It's a higher up, bro, real talk, facts. But let's not forget about Foxy Brown. Like I said, was Foxy Brown a teenager allegedly when or if Jay-Z messed with her? I'm not familiar with, I mean, I knew her songs, but I'm not familiar with that part. But listen, here's what I am familiar with. So Jay-Z and Beyonce have been in the news because people said, oh my God, is he broke? Is he going broke? They took out a $57 million loan, y'all, on their California mansion. It says, it goes without saying, Jay-Z and Beyonce, they know what they're doing when it comes to cash. According to the Daily Mail, however, they recently made a curious financial move that's raised eyebrows among fans. Reportedly, they took out a $57.75 million mortgage on their mansion in Bel Air, meaning they already had the house. They took that mortgage out. We're going to talk about why they may have done that. This brings their total borrowing on that property to $110 million. They first bought the property for only $88 million in 2017. They kept it, it said, when they decided to buy another house in California that was in Malibu in 2023 for $200 million. Here's the thing, y'all. If they bought it in 17 for $88 million, and today they've now mortgaged it to the tune of $110, that means the house is worth way more than that. That means that the house is probably worth, usually you're only allowed to take out about 75 to 80, like 70 to 80% of the value of your home. So that means that 70 to 80% of the value of that home is at least what they've taken out here, which is 110. But there's more. Now, Miss Tasha K says that they're broke. I want you guys to hear what Miss Tasha is thinking about this, because that's where we get our financial advice from, or not. But here's her breakdown. Let's just hear what Tasha got to say.
So, and a lot of these entertainers, let's be honest, they don't call
Hold on.
them billionaires, but in the grand scheme of it all,
that's right. Gotta refresh it. There we go.
A lot of them, they don't want to do that.
Shut up. That's not enough.
And it's not just them, because
scroll it back. Here we go.
That he is trying to personally, him and Beyonce, move and relocate to the UK to buy another home in a very affluent neighborhood. Alleged victim that claims that he was around when, Diddy was doing the taking.
So Jay-Z and other, you remember Jay-Z is going against Tony Busby. He's claiming that what Tony Busby has done has diminished his value, has diminished what he is worth, and even diminished his lending power.
Okay, 13-year-old girl at the time. We've already kind of, we've already debunked that. In my opinion, based off my investigation of where he was and where this took place and how she got there and everything, it just was not true. It gave very much Jaguar right.
Oh, Lord.
Okay, now here's the thing. But when lawsuits and things get filed against you and you got heavy allegations like this against you, it can hurt your reputation. And so he amended his lawsuit to say that he lost almost $20 million. And he also lost He was denied a $115 million loan for Roc Nation and also a $55 million line of credit. I guess that he was taken out on one of his properties because I do know that he is trying to personally, him and Beyonce, move and relocate to the UK to buy another home in a very...
Now, here's what I thought was genius. So in the lawsuit against Tony Busby, and you have to, for defamation that he's trying to prove up, he's a public figure, so he also has to prove up damages. This is brilliant. In effect, what he's trying to say is that what Tony Busby did to him cost him so much that he's now having to go out and get loans or getting denied for loans, that basically he can't just use the same spending power, etc., that he used to use before. So in other words, it looks like this one could be a component of how he's trying to build up and prove damages against Busby. Now, let's be clear. His lawsuit against Busby, originally, the first one that he filed was in California. When he filed that one, he filed it as a John Doe. That was before Busby even filed the lawsuit with the alleged 13-year-old against him, right? Jay-Z tried to get ahead of it, file it as a John Doe. But then about 2 or 3 weeks into that, Busby unmasked Jay-Z's name and filed against Jay-Z under his name. So everyone knew it was Jay-Z that was being accused in that case. So in other words, in the California case, Jay-Z was trying to sue Busby for both extortion and defamation. Now, if you look at my coverage of that case, I specifically told you, I said, it's not going to work. It's probably not going to work because lawyers have an immunity for lawsuits. In other words, because it is presumed that if a lawyer is filing a fraudulent or an incorrect lawsuit, it's because we're relying on what our client told us. So in order to protect lawyers and for lawyers to be able to do our jobs, we can't be fearful that every time we rely on a lying client, we're going to get sued and we'll personally be on the hook. So the judge in the California case, just like I said, he basically dismissed it. He said, these facts don't give grounds to the level of extortion that you need under the law, because simply pursuant to a civil suit, asking for money isn't extortion. And then secondly, the judge did not allow a number of the facts. He considered them hearsay. And he said, basically, you can't prove this up. So what did Jay-Z do? When the judge recently made that ruling, but months ago, when Jay-Z originally filed that lawsuit against Busby, the judge was signaling that this probably was not going to be successful and that the judge likely was not going to find in favor of Jay-Z. At that point, shortly after that, Busby dismissed the New York lawsuit on behalf of the alleged 13-year-old. He dismissed that one against Jay-Z. Remember that? So then what does Jay-Z's team do? They go down to Alabama, go visit old girl in her trailer. Their investigator interviews her and she states that this was all a lie concocted by Busby, some semblance of that. Jay-Z then files in Alabama the same lawsuit, same type of lawsuit that he tried in California, where the judge signaled, I can't allow it to proceed. You can't just run around suing lawyers each time they bring a civil case and ask you for money. What's interesting is Jay-Z's now found another state that he wants to proceed in, just like how his alleged son did, FYI. This time, though, it's Alabama, because that's where old girl lives. He's not actually violating any laws. His legal team was not, by going and talking to that girl, because at the time they talked to her, Busby had already dismissed the lawsuit. So currently, what Jay-Z's got going on that's still pending is he has an Alabama suit against Busby and against the girl, the alleged victim, both of them, for basically bringing what he claims is a frivolous suit. Hit that like as y'all coming in. Hit that like. So he's got a case against the both of those that is pending. But what I also found interesting, again, here is that part of how he's building up what we call damages, basically building up his right to a whole bunch of money, is by showing, look, he's gotten denied loans. He can't get access to money and things like he used to, because part of what he leverages is his trademark, his brand, his license, all of that. So of course, these cases are going to proceed for a while, but I wanted to make sure you guys understood the true facts of why people get mortgages, even rich people. Because people keep saying, why? Why did he do that? Why? Well, let me make sure I'm staring the right. There you go. And make this bigger. Well, he had a mortgage because it makes some good sense. So I own a title company, experiencetitleLLC.com. Check me out if you have any closings throughout Texas. And I try to tell my friends for years, stop putting a whole bunch of money down on a house. Cut it out. Don't do that, especially back when mortgage rates were only like 3.5%. Why? Because for every $1,000 that you put down, you're only saving yourself $67. And generally that 1,000 can be used for furniture or other things. So I love this little breakdown. I'm gonna play for you real quickly on why it makes sense if you're rich to go ahead and get that mortgage. Get that mortgage. It always depends on the numbers, but this was a really good breakdown here of the numbers for Jay-Z. Hold on, I'm gonna just summarize it for you real quickly, which is as follows. So Beyonce and Jay-Z, it said they recently took out a $57.75 million mortgage on their mansion. We talked about that. Here's a more detailed breakdown. It says the initial purchase in 2017, they got the mansion for $88 million. They took out a $52.8 million mortgage at only 3.5%. 3.5%, y'all. Inflation was basically higher. When the interest rate that you can get a house for is lower than what you could get like on a strong investment, you want to free up your own cash to go make those investments. So at 3.5%, it is better. Don't use your cash. I think especially brown people, you're like, oh, don't get into debt. Don't get it. No, don't get a payday loan. Don't go and get a 21% interest loan for that Chrysler 300. But when we're talking these numbers, so it was 3.5% interest for the $52 million. Then they got a second mortgage. Now this second mortgage all is only 57.5, 57 million basically. And their interest rate is only 5% on that. What? That is amazing. 5%. They're like literally at inflation and like prime. So as a result, it is absolutely better to take out a mortgage, free up your own cash, use your cash to invest in index funds, invest in Uber, invest in whatever. So it says, despite their combined net worth of $3 billion, they chose to take out the second mortgage, likely to maintain liquidity, keep their own money in their pocket for other investments. And then here's a cute little YouTube reel that I think breaks it down better than I've.
Why did Beyonce and Jay-Z buy an $88 million home with a mortgage? They're worth $1.8 billion. Like, shouldn't they just pay with cash? I'm Mrs. Dow Jones, your fave personal finance expert. Let me explain why rich people love debt. They know that when you're able to borrow money at a lower interest rate than you could make by investing it, you're able to turn a profit and grow wealth.
So hear that. When you're able to borrow money at a lower rate than you can make by investing it. So you're going to make more from investing it than what you pay. Basically, you got some cheap ass money. Sorry. Oh, cheap but money.
The numbers. J&J are borrowing $52.8 million at a 3.15% interest rate over 30 years. They're going to end up paying roughly $29 million in interest, which is a lot, but by getting that loan, they freed up $52.8 million to invest. If they put that in a low-cost index fund that returns 8% annually over 30 years, they'll have made around $531 million. You can do this.
Y'all. And look, she says,
if you have student loans and they're at a low interest rate, like 7% or lower, pay the minimum and put any extra cash into investments that will make 7% or more. Don't forget.
I love that. Can you imagine? I love that. All right. So then those are just the fun facts on that. So, you can get your finance advice from Tasha K. Or you gossip from her. Or you can talk to an investment professional. Oh, don't forget, I'm going to drop the link. I use Motley Fool, motleyfool.com. I absolutely love them. They help you invest, but they explain it to you in like everyday terms. I use that. I jumped into the market. I bought my Amazon stock at $270. This was pre-split. Now the equivalent, like if it was before this split, I think the stock would be worth like $4,000 a share. I don't know, it's something great. It says, Bree says, I have a finance background and can go even deeper. Ooh, okay, into the weeds. Thank you, Bree. Oh, so you know. They were making a strategic move. Yeah, that's the point. I just want y'all to know. This is a strategic move. Don't forget, y'all, I pinned, if anyone wants to call in, I pinned the link to join us for the call in because I'm going to do this Cardi B story. And then after that, call in if y'all want to. If not, I'm going to go take a shower and I'm going to drink some more wine. All right. Cardi B. Well, she's being sued again, as we all know. Here we are. So with Cardi B, she's got into it again. Oh, yep, she's got into it again. Let me make this a bit bigger. There it is. Oh, that's too tiny. Hold on. No. So Cardi B, it was 2023. They were like right at the statute of limitations, y'all. She was having a concert. At the concert, it was at Dre's Beach Club. She began by talking about how hot it was and so forth. And she was basically saying it was hot and she wanted people to splash her. So people were splashing her. And then according to Cardi, about 20 minutes had passed. And then this young lady takes a cup of ice and liquid and throws it in Cardi's face, making her livid. But this is what the lawyer who filed the lawsuit says. Lord have mercy, this, oh my God, that's tiny. Hold on. Am I blind? I think so. Make this bigger. This is ridiculous. What the hell? Hold on. Okay, I don't know if I can read this good. All right, it says the victim's name is Jane Doe. First of all, girl, ever since Busby, these people have really gotten out of hand with Jane Does. Jane Does, John Does. This is not what it's supposed to be used for. Jane or John Does specifically are supposed to be used for cases where you are alleging some type of, reputational harm, embarrassment, and so forth. So I had a client who was alleging that some celebrity had given her an STD. That's where you want to be a Jane Doe, right? Because a component of my argument was she should be compensated for the humiliation, the stigma, all of those things that are signed. Or you're allowed to be a Jane Doe if you are alleging any form of S crime. That's how come in the Diddy case, Mia, who claimed that he had assaulted her, and Jane, who claimed she was trafficked, were allowed to use Jane Doe aliases. All right, but basically this letter is saying the victim's attorneys, blah, 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 blah. It says the complaint contends. Why is this so small? My Lord. Be bigger. All right, it says the complaint contends that during her performance, which was outside, it was very high temperature, Cardi B asked someone in the audience to throw. This is ridiculous. Why am I blind? Hold on. As a bat. Here we go. I'm going to make this. I'm literally going to have my face screen. It said, okay, Cardi B asked members of the audience to throw water on her to cool her off. Audience members, including the victim in this case, obliged. Tossed the water during the show, and the complaint alleges that for an unknown reason, after the victim threw the water in Cardi's direction, Cardi got angry. She singled out the victim and violently threw the microphone she was using to the victim, striking her shoulder. Oh my God, her shoulder. Tell us about, oh gosh, we're going to need to hear about the injections that she got. We're going to need to hear about the deviations of the shoulder muscles. Oh my God, tell us about it. It says the incident, which was captured on cell phone video, went viral and generated millions of views. The story was also widely covered nationally and internationally. To add insult to injury, after the incident, the microphone Cardi B threw at her was auctioned for $99,000. The complaint contends that as a result of the incident, the victim suffered emotional distress, reputational damage. Oh, she's claiming reputational damage. Okay. Embarrassment and harassment from both the media and members of the general public. It says, what has been written off as a joke by many people is actually a traumatic experience that has significantly impacted my well-being and my quality of life, said Jane Doe. I am seeking justice in the hopes of of holding Cardi B accountable for her misdeeds. So no celebrity is above the law. Oh, it was so deep, guys. It was so deep. Oh, it was really good. Okay. Yeah. Are y'all buying it? Y'all buying it? It says, we haven't spoken on that situation. It says, do I think lesbian? Okay, I'm looking at those questions later. Here's what I posted last year, which is now has over 1 million views. Here we go. This is one of the angles, and I want to show it to you. Oh yeah, I took the audio off so that, okay, this is, says when you F around and you find out. She says, I'm sorry. So that's her. So y'all, this is some of the other reason why I'm like, why is she Jane Doe, y'all? Everybody saw her face. Honey, it went viral and your face was shown and you were apologizing in the video. So legally, I don't think Jane Doe is appropriate, but it's okay. Somebody said, Chris said, don't stop reading Simone. I'm getting excited. Yeah, Jane Doe isn't appropriate. But here, I want you to see this part. I'm going to play it again. I'm going to take the banner off because y'all need to see this whole thing, y'all. Hang on, see it. All right, it says, when you F around and find out. Roll it. We're going to start from the beginning. This is the beginning. Cardi is singing. She's over there. Watch the ice. Y'all, this ice. That's her. Oh, I'm sorry. Like a whole cup of stuff, right? And then in the, let's see. In the comments, hold on, here we go. I stated, so this was literally in 2023. I said, oh, now this is the angle that's going to be brought into court. I don't know, y'all. I feel like even if the girl, because some people were arguing that she hit the person on the head with the mic who was not the person who threw the ice at her. We now see that's not true. She actually bopped the person in, and it wasn't in the head. It was the shoulder who actually did throw the cup at her. I said, I feel like even if she didn't do this, but got hit with the microphone and tries to sue, she likely will get a minimal amount because she has no injuries and it could be considered an honest self-defense mistake. What do y'all think? I want to hear your thoughts in the comment. Now here, there's a better angle. This one got a better angle, y'all. You got to look at this. This angle. Okay, here we go. Look at that. This angle. Make sure you're seeing it. Nope, let me switch it. Here we go. Y'all gonna need to see this one. All right. This is the throw. But it's short. I'm gonna try to pause it. I'm gonna start from the beginning. It's real short. You gotta watch. So I can't play the music. That's why you can't hear what Cardi's saying. But the music's going. You see that big old chunk? And you see Cardi's face. She's like, what? Because you'll see it's ice chunks. Like, I don't know that I'd want to get hit in the face with ice either. I'm going to play it one more time. And then we're going to hear what Cardi had to say. Cardi looked like completely shocked. But then the girl looked shocked too. The girl said, I'm sorry. I don't know if maybe the girl was not expecting it to hit so directly on point. Here's another one. Look. Oh, yeah, look at that. She said, now she's real mad. That whole cup, y'all, look at it. Wait, watch the cup. I'm gonna tell you legally what I think. Come on, do it again. Because it had, I really think that cup had more than just water. It was probably actual alcohol, but it definitely had big old chunks of ice. And look, okay, now here's what Cardi had to say about it. I thought this explanation was interesting. Here's what Cardi says.
That young lady.
It was really like a quick reaction. Mm-hmm. It was really like, and let me tell you, motherfucker, I didn't want to address it because I thought bitch was going to go to jail, but I'm not. I didn't really, because motherfuckers, people was making their own shit. Like, let me tell you something, right? It was hot as fuck. That Vegas, he ain't over. That shit was hot. It was hot than a motherfucker. So there was a part of the show that I told people, like, you know, splash me. But even when I told him splash me, I was like, "Mate, be careful with the face. The face is beat, bitch." So fucking 4 songs after, nobody has splashed me. I told y'all to splash me for 1 little second. 4 songs after, which is like, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes after, this bitch threw water and ice on my face. So like I just automatically reacted. I didn't even know that I was throwing it I just threw the shit because it's like, bitch, you hit me right in my face. And when I look at the video, it's like, nah, you intended to throw that shit in my face because you ain't did it like this.
Do you regret throwing that microphone at that moment?
It was really like a quick
way, like it was
like, and that shit had ice. And everybody's like, oh, but no, bitch, you fucking throw some ice in your motherfucking face, bitch, and you gonna tell me how the fuck you feel, bitch, because I felt very violated.
Yeah.
Did you forget you had told people to splash you?
No, but it was it was in a segment though. It was in one segment. Like, girl, you did that shit like fucking 20 minutes later, bitch. And not only that, you threw me fucking ice, bitch. Like, don't fucking motherfucker.
Well, that language is gonna ruin this video, but you get the gist, right? You get the gist. So what do you guys think? Do you think ice is a big difference? Do you think that, like, the fact that it was 4 songs later that the invitation was withdrawn? It sounds like that's what Cardi B is trying to argue here. Well, I love this. Wholesaling Tony said, injuries I would claim: fractured shoulder, severe pain, multiple lacerations, time from work. Ooh, and that you can't pick up your 3-year-old child. All of that is good. Now, I'll say this. Don't forget, guys, I dropped the link if anyone wants to call in and ask a legal question. I can give you my personal opinion. I'm not your lawyer, whatever. But I pinned it to the top, but I also just redropped it. We're going to do that next. If anyone doesn't have a question, then we'll kind of conclude and keep it fun and light for tonight. But yes. Oh, yeah. Long, love, and laugh. Live, love, and laugh says headaches. Oliver, if it wasn't ice, you said, if it wasn't the ice, she wouldn't care. I think that's true. If it wasn't ice, I don't think she would have cared if it wasn't ice, because she clearly said the rest was water. But again, it was like directly in her face. So she was saying she didn't want that on her makeup. At the end of the day, though, if you got that type of a crowd and you invite them to throw water on you and they do your challenges, people are going to feel like that's an invitation for the rest of your set. Like, oh, I'm helping her out. I'm doing a favor. But I want to be really clear on how damages works, because I will get calls from people who have been through really, truly embarrassing or inconvenient or just like terrible customer service types of things. And they'll call and they'll want to ask, well, I'd like to sue, would you take my case? And I always ask, well, what amount of money would make you whole? And most times people say, well, I'm not sure. And whenever I take a case, I always want an idea of how much money that person would like from the case. That way I can tell you whether or not I think it's realistic, whether or not I think I can do that for you, or if there's some other amount. Like, I always want that agreement before I take on a new client, because I like to exceed expectations. Well, with a case like this, okay, yeah, she threw the mic at her shoulder, but you got 2 challenges, especially also being in Vegas. Number one is, what are her damages really? So, the one person I just read off listed all these damages. Number one, if you're going to have a fractured shoulder and all that stuff, you got to go to the doctor consistently. You got to go to all your therapy appointments. You're going to have like 8 weeks or so worth of physical therapy and or chiropractor. You're going to have to go to religiously. You're going to have to get injections, And a lot of times people want the case, but they don't want to go get the treatment. They're like, well, isn't it just good enough that the doctor said this is what I need? No, it's really not. Under the law, to get top dollar, you actually have to go to the doctor. The doctor has to say this is what you need, and then you have to do it. You have to follow the doctor's instructions. So a lot of times they don't even really want to do all that work. And more than likely, she didn't go to no hospital. She probably was not in an arm cast. She might have bought an arm cast because she can get that from CVS and was walking around like this for her shoulder or so forth. But she would really need a doctor to say she was truly injured. The embarrassment is not enough. The embarrassment is enough. And reputational damage, you have to be careful with that, because if you didn't have no good reputation in the first place, or a reputation, so like if you're like a new nursing student, there's not, like, you don't have the same type of reputation as if you were the CEO of Astronomer, right? So reputational damage for something that you also contributed to you're not going to get much of anything from that. Also, a lot of people don't realize, let me see if it's comparative fault in Las Vegas. Hold on. Because it goes not by where each of these people are from, but where it happened. Hold on. Let me tell you this. Let me confirm this. So every state, when it comes to civil law, got them. Y'all come and look at this. I thought, so every state has their own, it's called comparative fault laws. So what that means is when you're filing a civil case, when you say this person hurt me and did whatever to me, what happens is the defendant gets to say, all right, when they have the jury verdict sheet, that they want the jury to determine what percentage is the defendant at fault and what percentage of this is the plaintiff's fault. So here in Vegas, when they go to trial, the jury is going to get to decide, and the jury must assign a percentage. So I want to know, you tell me, what percentage fault do you think what percentage of this is the fault of the girl who threw the cup of ice, as far as her then getting hit in the shoulder with the microphone? Here's why. Let me make this bigger. Under comparative fault, in the state of the state of Nevada, if a jury finds you're 50% liable for what happened to you, you don't get a dime. Nada. You don't get nothing. Oh, great, Wanderlust. I see you back there. I'm going to take your question shortly. So that's what I'm like, sometimes I'll get consultations with people and I have to tell them, I'm like, it's tricky, because if it's 50%, if a jury finds she's equally as liable, if somebody says she's 75% liable, if the jury finds that she's 50% or more liable, she gets nothing. The other part of it is if a jury finds, let's say a jury finds she's 30 or 40% liable, then that means you deduct that from her award, whatever the jury awards her. So if they award her $100,000 and they find her 40% liable, you got to take out $40,000. Well, as an attorney who takes these on contingency fee, if I'm gonna take them, I don't want that, because that's cutting into my money too. So you have to think about how liable are the two of you? Because again, if it's 50-50, you get nothing. If it's something less than 50, they still take away your percentage of fault. And then you have to think about the fact that I bet her medical bills aren't that high. So more than likely, this is one of those cases where they want to get some money on the table from Cardi B for the inconvenience it'll cost her, for the cost of lawyers for her, for the cost of having to attend hearings or mediation. We call it nuisance value. Oh, Dimple said she's 90% liable. What about her security yanking on her fractured arm? Well, so if she already had a fractured arm, anything security or any of them do to make it worse, we call it aggravated, Cardi B's team would be responsible for. So that would be not just Cardi B, but that would be the hotel for negligent security. They would all be responsible for that. Okay, let me see. Let me confirm the injuries. I had it up earlier. Her injuries are, she just reported being hit in the shoulder and the arm. The lawsuit mentions emotional distress, reputation, the others. Yeah, I'm not seeing specifics, anything other than hurt to her shoulder. I don't see anything about dislocation. Did you see that or hear that? Oh, it says in the USA, you can sue for just about anything. That is true. So y'all are saying she's 90% liable. Y'all are not playing with this girl. I wonder what her choice would be if her options were 1, take the money but banned from Cardi B concerts, or 2, don't take the money and you can continue going to the concerts. Very interesting. I don't think she's that big of a fan. Although, what was interesting is it stated that in the petition, she went to the concert by herself. She flew to Vegas alone just to attend the Cardi B concert, that she was that big of a fan. Yeah, I knew you meant Sue. Yeah, so that's odd. So in the end, I would be very curious to see what are her medical bills. Because generally you get some multiple of your medical bills. It depends on what state you are and how bad the medicals are. But if her medical bills are, I would doubt that they're 10K. You know, generally you may get 1 to 2 times your medical bills for something like that because it was a one-time incident. I feel like she's more embarrassed than hurt. The fact that that video went viral, you can see her face, you see her saying, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. If you know her in real life, I bet you'd be like, oh my God, that's Marlena, or whatever her name is. I don't know her name. So, yeah. So I had to say that one, yeah. We'll definitely stay tuned on that one. But it says, yeah, I don't think so. I don't think that's going to work. Definitely over 50% liable. Yeah. I don't think it's going to be much there. But also, remember, initially, the girl wanted criminal charges filed against Cardi. So they did open up an assault investigation, did the whole investigation, and determined no charges would be filed for what I said, which is the argument of self-defense. So that's that. All right. Now, I appreciate you guys on this one. I am going to take, let's see, we got one question. I'm going to take one call-in legal question. What you got, Wonderlust? You ready?
Oh, I was logging into the StreamYard and I didn't realize I would get in. So I'm so nervous.
It's okay. I'll let you down. Okay. If anyone else has a legal question that you want asked, someone said that's true. It says you can sue that your cookie doesn't have any. You can sue that your cookie doesn't have any chocolate chips in it, as was done as the picture on the packaging. That keeps happening more and more. And I tell you what, those are consumer fraud, consumer law related cases. Those are cases simply where I believe a lawyer has literally told someone, go up in that store and go get one of them cookies. And we're going to sue because it is false advertising. It's not consistent with whatever's on it. They've done that with Subway sandwiches that, they're smaller than what they look like. All kinds of things. Those cases are class actions where generally the lawyer gets a large amount in their lawyer's fees because they're representing millions of people in the class. And then each person gets a check for $10 or something. All right. Oh, you guys, hit those likes. We've got less than 100 likes and we have over 100. I'm sorry, we got almost 500 in the chat. Yep. I never knew what that lady looked like until today. Yeah, I don't remember seeing a video showing her when it all happened. Yeah, my video is still on my page. It's from 2023, I think April or July, something like that. Somebody said the lady's running game. It is a scheme. All right, guys. Well, let me know what other questions you have, what other topics you want me to cover below. Drop it below in the chat. Your legal bestie, Attorney Simone. Oh, wait. We got somebody. We got a legal question. What you got, Sin?
Hey, girl. I'm Dallas, Texas.
Welcome.
Yes, I know your hood real good.
Yes. Oh, Cliff, that's my hood.
Ask you, is there a legal way that a grandparent can see their grandchildren if the parents are acting crazy?
Okay. If the parents are acting crazy, can you sue the grandkid? Are they a minor?
No, if you can have contact with your grandchild.
Oh, to get contact. Oh, yeah, you can. So every state is a little bit different and it is a little bit tricky. It's called grandparents' rights. But generally, think of it from the perspective of you'd go about it similar to the way that if, like, for example, if a neighbor was abusing their child and you needed to call CPS and go through those steps, then you would effectively make those concerns and complaints first. And then CPS, when they're doing their investigation, they're like, their first step is always to try and find relatives who potentially, could keep the kids, watch the kids, etc. So number one, if the parent is misbehaving like that, you got to make a report. And I know it may be hard to make one on your child or child-in-law, whatever it is. But another thing you can do to kind of help support that is, are you already active in these kids' life?
Oh, very much. It
Okay.
just, after my mom passed away, her husband pretty much shielded her and my granddaughter away from the family.
Got it. Okay, gotcha. So you may also want to, if you're concerned about behavior, talk with the teachers, and you can report certain things to teachers as well. Teachers are mandated reporters. So if you could get any of the children to confess to their teacher, then that actually would leave you out of it. So you don't have to be the bad guy telling CPS, but the child would tell the teacher then must report it. And then when CPS or otherwise are like, who can take care of these kids and watch them as we do an evaluation of the parent, that person could be you.
Okay.
That'd be the easiest start.
Yeah.
It's going to be a long, drawn out process, but that would be a start. Yep. I hope that helps.
I told somebody that grandparents had rights.
Yeah, grandparents' rights. Absolutely. Every state's a little bit different. Put in grandparents' rights for Texas in ChatGPT and see what you get. All right. You have a good one.
It's a blessing talking to you.
You too. You too. All right. Hibiscus. All right. Let me see.
Hey,
Hibiscus Rose.
how you
What you got?
doing?
Good.
Can you hear me okay?
I'm going to hear it. Yes.
Okay.
You're fine.
So listen, I got divorced 3 years ago, and my ex
Congratulations.
hallelujah. My ex got the truck in the divorce, which both of our names are on the truck, but my name is listed first. So he keeps like just running tolls and running up tickets. Here it is 3 years later, and I just got a letter today from like the police in another state about a ticket.
Keep going. Put the air on.
What can I do to, and because my name is listed first, his name is not even on any of the tickets. I've gotten letters from the Department of Transportation saying that, my license will be suspended if these tickets aren't paid. So I have to dispute it, send the divorce papers in. I'm 3 years out. I want to be done with this mess. What can I do? He's not even paying the truck note. He's got to be hiding it. I wish they just repossess it. But, what can I do?
Number one, I would try to turn in the truck if you could. I sure would.
I don't know where he is. I don't know where he
They
lives.
might be able to. They may have a low jack thing in there where they know where it is. They may have a tracker in it.
Okay.
I don't know what kind of truck it is, but it could have OnStar. Sometimes like OnStar, and depending on where you went.
It had a kit. It had a kit. Okay. So that would be like the finance company or the dealership.
It would be the finance company. You would you communicate with the finance company and say, how do I go about turning this in?
Okay.
Since your name is still on it, technically, you may be able to do that. Technically, it's his, but he hasn't paid for it. So therefore, it's still in part your, as you can see, responsibility and liability.
Right.
So
I refinance it in the divorce papers, and
here's the thing, y'all. Hear me and hear me good.
Never happened.
There's one thing about divorce I'm gonna try to tell you. Y'all misunderstand. This is why anything that has a note on it and your name, you better fight in that divorce to keep it. And then make them give you some type of money or whatever, but you keep it and you pay it off, especially if you have an irresponsible other. Here's why. The truth of the matter is the law in every state that says, oh, you have to refinance it within however many days. Yeah. It means you have to make a good faith attempt to refinance it. It's not mandatory. If you try to refinance it and you get rejected, the court will do nothing. They will not be punished.
I'm sure he would be rejected.
Yeah, most of the time it has two people's name on it because two people are required to qualify. Usually one person has the money, one person has the credit, or something along those lines. So, yeah, don't ever do that again. It's okay.
It's the never be divorced. It never goes away. Yes,
never. It's the same thing with houses. It's like the other person will get the house and they'll say you got to refinance it. The law simply says you just got to try. So if you make attempt once a year and you call when you're not working and you get rejected, no one can do anything. So for you, what you need to do, call that financing company, say, I need to turn this car in. What is the process? Or you can say, I need y'all to come repossess it. and do a background check on him, get his home address, and give it to them so they can come get it out from in front of his house.
Oh, I didn't even think about a background check. Okay, that's awesome.
I can do that. Call me. I think it's $149.
I'll sign up on your site. Okay, because it's so worth it.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
And then one other thing about how much are them tolls?
Oh my gosh, he runs them up to like $100. I just got an $85 ticket today. Now I'm not paying them.
What's the approximate total of all the tolls?
Maybe $400, $500. You know, it's
all right. This sounds crazy. Okay, I thought it was going to be thousands, so that's good that it's not that bad. But then, how much do you think he owes? Around 5,000 or less left on the truck, or 10,000 or less? What do you think on the truck?
He hasn't even been paying on the truck, so he's got to be hiding it. He's paid one note a year, so it's extended. It's supposed to be paid for. It's like $29,000 left on the truck. So imagine 29,000. It was only like a $38,000 truck. It's like it never goes away.
Is he financially irresponsible? It sounds like it.
He is horrible. He is a horrible person.
Does he have a job?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
Okay, that's fine. Oh, y'all have been divorced for 3 years. You said that. I was gonna say, depending on how much he owes you, at least for the tolls, or the tolls in the truck combined, in the state of Texas, 20,000. You can go to small claims court for anything 20,000 or less. So if it's around that, you could do that. Or if you want to go just for those stupid tolls and stuff and those tickets, because he's probably got a lot of tickets too. I actually would encourage you, go online and sign up for Judge Mathis, sign up for Judge Judy. I know for sure with Judge Mathis and Steve Harvey's court, if they're back, they're going to come back this fall. Here's why. When you go on that show, when it's determined that you win, they pay the award. So you don't have to worry about, like in real life, if you win a verdict from a judge and then you got to seize assets or, debt. No, the actual on the show, in order to get people to come on, whoever wins, they pay the verdict so that you get that. Plus they fly you, plus they give you a per diem, plus they put you up in a condo. I mean, apartment.
All I have to do is deal with the embarrassment of the mistake. But other than that,
embarrassment. Like, I think it's actually, it's a big learning thing, because you did not know when you were getting divorced and that divorce decree said he needed to refinance it. You didn't know that the law really says he just needs to make a good faith attempt and that he could go 3 years and it would still be in your name. You would have never agreed to that. So honestly, it would be like a teaching thing. You could like teach other women to not. Not in that situation.
Okay. I've been wanting to ask you this question for a while, but thank you.
Problem.
I appreciate it.
Thank you for joining me. And I love all your participation in the chat.
Yes, I'm always
in all the time. Thank you. All right. If anyone else has a question, I'm going to remove you. Have a great night. And Wanderlust, come on in here. I think Wanderlust will be the last question, unless someone else has one.
Hi, Simone. Attorney Simone. Okay, so my question.
Hold on 1 second. I want to clarify this. So someone was saying one of the shows pays up front. She said they tried to get me to come on there like 20 years ago. They do pay some amount up front, but then if you read like the fine print at the very, so that amount is to get you there. They give you, it could be, I don't know, it could be 2,000 or 3,000 to get you there, fly you there, give you food, and put you in a hotel, and also allow you to like bring a witness. But then in addition to that, if the judge determines you're entitled to whatever dollar amount, they give you that dollar amount. Okay, thanks. Just wanted to clarify that. So, Wanderlust, what you got, girl?
Okay, so first, I just want to tell you I'm Thrift the Runway, that I always comment on your post, but I didn't want to put that in my title.
I love it.
I have 2 questions. I don't know if I can ask both, but I'll start with the one that's pertaining to myself. Okay. That one is, I have 2 homes. One I own with someone and one I own independently in New York. And I would like to put them in or establish a trust, so that way I can avoid probate at the point that I am no longer on this earth, and my son doesn't have to go through all the rigmarole of having to figure it all out. I don't know the best way. What questions are the best to ask an attorney when finding one to get that all taken care of?
So the best thing to do is you're going to Google New York, because that's the state, and put this in quotes, continuing legal education, and trust or create a trust. something like that. Here's why. Because every lawyer, every year, we have to take at least 15 hours of continuing legal education. That means we have to take seminars on classes to make sure that we are abreast on the most current form of the law. So my theory is this: when my loved ones, when my friends are like, hey, can you help me find a lawyer in Kalamazoo? I'm like, no, girl, or Kansas or whatever. I do that because what that takes me to it'll pull up seminars on that topic. So it's going to give you seminars that other lawyers have attended in New York on how to create trust for their clients. And my theory is the lawyers who are so good that they teach the other lawyers how to do the trust is the lawyer you want to hire.
One that teaches. Okay.
Yes, because CLE, so they're still a practicing lawyer. It's just that CLEs, since we all have to do them, they literally scour throughout the state the people who are the best at a particular topic and ask them to teach the CLE. So that's how you know you're going to be getting, for the most part, you'll get someone very skilled in that. And that's also a tip, whether it's trust, whether it's you're looking for someone to draft you a prenup, whatever it is, you go to the state bar's CLE website, put in the topic, and literally buku seminars will pop up.
I love that advice because I worked for attorneys for 25 years and never would have even thought to look at that part. Can I ask you one more question?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, the other one is pertaining to, I'm going to say someone I know, very close to me, young man who has a criminal background when he was young, making not good decisions, but has since turned his life around and has his own moving company, but has to work through the apps. So kind of like on the gigs. In between, he has applied for city jobs and all kinds of jobs, but the background check keeps coming up. And so that kind of falls apart. Any advice as to how to, is there some way, I guess are companies allowed to deny you from the background check? Or is there a way to deal with that?
So every state is different. I know that you mentioned New York. New York is a lot more lenient with background checks. Hold on. Let me see. Let me look it up. How long ago?
Probably more than 5 years ago.
All right, so it says in New York, most felony convictions become eligible for automatic sealing actually after 8 years after sentencing or release from incarceration, whichever happens later. So that's under the Clear Slate Act. It says, however, certain serious felonies like murder, S offenses are excluded, blah, blah, blah. But there's also
so this is nonviolent. These are nonviolent.
That's good. Yeah. And how long has it been since he was released? Do you remember?
So never would serve time.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So it sounds like number one, what he may need to do is to first see if he can have it sealed. Always do that first. Then people can't see it to mistreat you. I had a company called myrecordisclean.com, and I did that throughout Texas. Then secondly, I know that New York has like this check the box rule where if it's a certain amount of time away, like it's however so old, and I don't know what the age of it. It could either be 5 years or 7 years. Oh, I think it's 7 years. Then you don't, you're not allowed to ask in New York State. New Jersey has something similar. You'll have to pull that up. But how long had you said since he had just been charged with it?
I want to say more than 5 years.
Okay. I'm assuming it was a felony and he just got deferred or something?
Grand larceny.
Okay. Oh, yeah. So the problem is that is something of moral turpitude, theft. So then companies and businesses are going to be scared. Even with like a mover, the problem is for most moving companies want to be licensed and bonded. And part of the challenge is if you've got a former thief, working for you, you may not be able to get the same licensure. But I remember in my state, they actually had a program where if it was someone who'd been out of work for a number of time or it's so long from their offense, they actually could get licensing and bonding, but you had to go to, in Texas, we call it the Texas Workforce Commission. New York, it has a different name, but he should perhaps reach out to them too and see what services do they have for people with records to help them seal. Seal is just make it not public, or expunge their records so that they can get jobs. And then my final suggestion, which I know is going to sound kind of crazy, if all else fails, name change. Name change is actually one of the easiest things.
Your personal name change?
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't have to be too much. So let's say his name is like Mark Anthony Smith. He may decide to change his name to James Anthony Smith or Anthony James Smith or something like that. And he can still go by Mark. Nobody cares what you go by, right? You can still, everyone can call you Mark. And people are like, oh, why do you call you Mark? Oh, that's my nickname. Whatever it is. But actually name change, because when you change your name, then the new job, you put your new name on the thing, on the form, and that's what they search.
Wow. Okay. Thank you.
And it's real cheap. I think it's like $199 or something.
Interesting. Okay.
It is.
Thank you.
All right. Absolutely. Thank you, Wanderlust. Let me see. Do we have any others? It doesn't follow the driver's license or the social security number. So with criminal stuff, some criminal stuff does follow your SSN, and a lot of it doesn't, though. A lot of it just goes by your name and your date of birth. What happens is when you go to apply for a new job, that new job makes you put down your names, right? Any names you've ever gone by. Now, for women, we know that means like maiden names and stuff like that. But generally for men, it's expected that whatever name you put down is the only name that you've gone by. So generally, it's the only name that they search. Now, it could still link certain things because of your SSN, because they do take your SSN and they do search that. However, when there's a mismatch, sometimes they'll come back to you, or they'll assume if there's a mismatch that it may not be that same person. Yes, legal aid is really good at helping with sealing records if you qualify for legal aid. They do search by social security numbers, but what I'm saying is some crimes aren't necessarily attached to your social security numbers, or it'll create a mismatch, which then creates like a thing in the system where they come back and they're like, is this you? Or, oh, and then you can come back and be like, oh, I had this sealed. Now, in the state of Texas, and I'm pretty sure New York is like this too, if you had something sealed or non-disclosed, they are not allowed to reject you for a job for that. Once you get it sealed or non-disclosed, you get all the rights back that you would have had the offense never occurred, including in the state of Texas, you get your pal rights back. If you lost the right to have a pal, you seal that record, you can get it back. So, but to be very clear, every state is different, but the name change situation is like a very last resort. It's also a last resort if what you did was like something really stupid, or people would Google your name and be like, I'm trying to remember who it was. I went on a date with this guy. He had a really stupid offense when he was 17, but he was tried as an adult, I think. And when I Googled his name, the really dumb situation popped up. He would have been a good example for that. It could be. Yeah, it totally could be dangerous. Nursing Game, you're saying that she clarified that it was not a dangerous offense. It was larceny. It was like theft. So if it's sealed, do you have to disclose? No, you don't. So if something is sealed, and again, every state is different. I'm going to tell you primarily my state, as well as New York and New Jersey. Now, if it's sealed, law schools, generally their wording on the application makes you disclose even sealed offenses, but that's because you're trying to become a lawyer or apply to law school. But for sealed offenses, no, the state law generally says you get your rights back such that you can deny this ever happened. And if you do that, and then the job then says, wait, no, we saw that you had this offense, the job under the law of all 50 states If a job is about to reject you for your record, they have to give you 30 days to dispute that record and therefore give them a copy of a court order that seals your record or expunges your record. A lot of people don't realize they're entitled to that and don't do it. So you get that 30 days. You're able to then, if you already have a non-disclosure sealing order, you're supposed to send it to the company, and then the company has to hire you. And if they don't, it's called retaliation. Boop, boop, boop. And you're entitled to a whole bunch. I don't know where my hair is doing whatever. You're entitled to a whole bunch of money. In New York for NYC jobs, he can get a certificate of disabilities. Thank you, Smart Girl NYC. I did. I opened with J&B. Do you have anybody else who's got a legal question? If so, this is the final link. Yep, they were the first one. But yeah, I'm glad you asked. It could be dangerous, but I answered the question the way I did because she said larceny. Yeah, you think that it would follow, that the crimes would follow your license, but it's New York. Most people don't have licenses, boo. They have state IDs though. They do have state IDs, but they don't have licenses. It's very tricky. Yeah. Oh yeah, you could be a CDL. Oh my gosh, let me tell you something. Whenever I meet real fine men, and you ask them like, "What do you do?" They're like, "Oh, I own trucks." And they got a whole bunch of muscles. I'm like, "How long did you serve?" And they'd be like, "What?" They're like, "How long?" Every time I've ever done that, they went to jail and they did some time. They sold some substances, did some time, and they went out, they got their CDL. Now, I don't know what they be toting in that truck. That ain't my business, but they do be real fine. Oh, I love that. So, wait. So, Gamick said the lady, this is who called in earlier with the ex-husband who was not paying on the truck, running all these tolls, not paying the tolls. The truck was still half in her name. Is saying she should report the truck stolen. Only problem with that is because the court order gave it to him, it still have his. So we don't want to do anything where we're making technically false police reports. We're going to stay above the law because we want to get him arrested. We want him to go to jail. All right. Let's see. Some states don't see. Yeah, a lot of states wouldn't see it as stolen because there's a court that basically the same court order that she's showing the DMV to be like, them ain't my tickets, is the same court order that says the car is his. So you can't have it both ways. Which one is it? Are those your tickets or is that his car? Hey, Roberta, good to see you. Oh, come on. Candace Owens being sued. Okay, I'll talk about this real quick to the end. This little stupid. Let me see. I had a little graphic. I literally had a graphic for this because I was going to do. Let me put it. See if it'll come back up. So Candace Owens is being sued for calling this lady who looks like a man. Now, she don't look that much like a man. Very specifically, though, the problem is it is the first lady of France. As a Creole girl, I feel like I'm in a good position to tell you this ghetto story. It's so stupid. Hold on. Oh, I got my graphics. I actually do have a graphics on this. Let me pull it up. I'm glad you asked. I'm your legal bestie, attorney Simone. I break down cases on my YouTube channel here and social media. And one of the cases across the nation we've been talking about is good old Sambo. Candace Owens is getting sued by the prime minister's wife, so the first lady of France. Now, she is being sued because Candace Owens continues to say that this lady is a man. She is a whole boy. Now, what's interesting is this is not the first time that Mrs. Macron, First Lady Macron, has gone against influencers and people in the media who have said she looks like a dude. Now, to be honest, she doesn't really look that much like a dude. I think part of the challenge is she has really bad wigs. I don't know where she goes, but they're bad. Like, she can go to any homegirl in the hood and she'd fix that lace. Looks like she's got a screen door on her forehead. Anyway, so this woman has been alleged to be a man, according to Candace Owens. But prior to Candace Owens, there were two other female influencers and YouTubers. One was a psychic and the other was a YouTuber who literally did a 4-hour live claiming that the first lady was a dude, including they said that she actually was her brother, that she was born a boy, that those aren't really her kids, that her prior husband never existed. Pause. It's really important that you understand a little fun fact about her prior husband. So she has 3 children from a prior marriage. She was a school teacher, a high school teacher for the president, Mr. Macron. That's where they met. She was 40-something. He was a high schooler. He's actually the same age as her son. And they met while she was teaching at his high school, and they were just friends. They never did it to each other back then. They were friends for 15 years, and then, lo and behold, they went and got married. Went on down that courthouse. So they met in 1992. 92, when he was in high school. Did y'all know? I did a whole deep dive. It's amazing what Adderall can do for you. It was 1992. He was in high school. She was one of the teachers. I think she was like an English teacher or something. And fast forward, now she's like 80 years old. She's a lot older than him. Because he was the age of her son. So fast forward, and they talked about it being a little awkward because he was the same age as her son and she was married. And then at some point she gets divorced. And in 2007, she marries the man who is going to become the president of France. The president. Let's say she made him, just like, it would be something. Somebody says, I don't know. Yeah, that's how the relationship really started. It says, yes, but Candy accused her. Oh, yeah, you're right. It's a whole bunch of crimes. So it's not, excuse me. Let me put this up. So it's not just her being a man. And thank you so much, Justine. I love your comments, your commentary, and your contribution in the chat always. And I want to, just to bring this on home and to clarify what's going on here, I want to distinguish it from the prior lawsuit that Mrs. Macron, I'm gonna call her First Lady. The First Lady Frenchie dealt with. First Lady Frenchie brought a lawsuit against these influencers because they were saying she was born a guy, that her children weren't hers, that her ex-husband didn't exist, all of those things. On the lower court level, she won. Didn't win much. I think she won like 8,000 from one of the people that called her these names and like, I don't know, 7,000 from the other. Then on the appeals level said, no, they dismissed it. They said it's part of the free speech, that this was just their opinion, that they thought she looked like a man. Not, maybe not actually, but that they are allowed under French laws for free speech. Let me clarify this. In America, here's how defamation works. There's a difference between fact and opinion. You can give your opinion all day, honey. I can say, I can say Tyree's breast stank. I'm like, y'all, Tyree's breast stank. It always stank. It's always some stank. That's my opinion. But I cannot say Tyrese's breath stinks because he swallows dog poop as part of his daily regimen. Like I that would be a fact. So only facts can lead to defamation. You have to say something that could be a fact to lead to defamation. Even if it's hyperbole like something super exaggerating. And it has to be something like it's very obvious someone's exaggerating. So if I say, oh, she was big as a whale, y'all know she wasn't a whale. I'm just using hyperbole. The problem is Candace, let me see. It says Candace Owens said she is, said that she's trans and that she looks trans. And I saw the trans comments. I didn't see anything about the M-word or incest or other things. The problem is, this woman, when she filed her prior lawsuit against the other influencers, that was in Europe. It was under European laws, French laws specifically. The lower court awarded her money. The appeals court took that money away, said it was free speech. Now she is appealing it over there to the higher court. So what Candace Owens is saying is, oh no, she's already lost. She tried this before and she lost. She's going to lose with me again. Here, Candy girl, you're my world. This is going to be a testament to how smart Candy Girl really is. Now, if Candy Girl is as smart as she would like the rest of America to believe, Candy Girl is going to have her defamation insurance in place. It's part of the doing business. She's going to have that in place. Her lawyers are going to be hired under her policy. She won't have to pay it down. Excuse me. That's part of what I be doing when people, I'm going to sue you for defamation. Do it. It's going to be between you and State Farm. Good luck. Because all that smack that Candace Owens is playing is given. Number one, she better make sure she has a good defamation insurance policy in place. That is a thing, you guys. If any of you guys know or love an influencer, you check on them. Y'all, I love me some Armand. Check on Armand. I told him, I feel like I told him when we was in New York. I was like, make sure you get your defamation insurance in place, because he said some stuff, but then he was having guests on his show that was saying all type of stuff, like the freezer meat guy and the other guy. Anyway, any influencer you love, say, hey, my legal bestie told me, make sure you get your defamation insurance. It's only literally, it's like $10 more a month. It kicks in just like if you have a car accident. Somebody sues you for defamation, you be like, oh, cool, bet. I'm calling State Farms. Hey, Mr. Farm Boy, these people over here playing with me. Go on and get them. It don't matter if that litigation goes 10, 15 years. That's why with Tasha K, I was like, what? Tasha. Your lawyer did you a disservice. The first thing, when you got your LLCs and you got all your business stuff structured, shame on her. That's the person that should have said, boo, you know, you talk a lot. You say a whole bunch of stuff now. You entertaining and you fun. But we got to make sure we got your defamation in place, because if she had that, she wouldn't have had to pay Cardi B a dime, a negative, nothing. She would have paid her deductible, which might have been $1,000. That's 10 seconds in the video for Tasha K. And then the insurance would have paid. Similarly here, we'll see if Candy Girl got all her ducks in a row. If she's got that defamation insurance in play, then her insurance company is going to fight to the end with this lady who does kind of look like a man sometimes, but sometimes not. I'm going to look into the other allegations. I'm going to double check, but I didn't see where she accused them of the M word or that other stuff. Somebody said, I hope they take her to the cleaners. Very good question. All insurance companies do it. State Farm. Who do I have? So I have LLC insurance, like that's part of my business. And it's just one of the coverages that comes. I don't even pay a dime extra. State Farm does it for sure. Allstate, Liberty Mutual. I had it with Liberty Mutual. Also, if you have an apartment or a home, if you own a home or you rent an apartment, you can just call whoever you get your renter's insurance from, homeowners. Literally, they'll add it. If it's renter's insurance, it might be $6, $7 more. But it's amazing, because not only do they pay for your lawyers, if you are required to pay any settlement, it covers that too. Now, you might not be able to get some more defamation insurance after you have to do that settlement for a while, but who cares? Oh, yeah. Hit that like, guys. We have over 470 watching. It says, please do a separate breakdown. Oh, yeah. I'm actually going to pull this video out and do each topic separately. But finally, with the Candace Owens saga. So again, just to recap, with Mrs. Macron, Miss Macron, I think she got not big feet, but I think she got a big head, because she sued these other influencers successfully for calling her a man and stuff. It was successful on the lower court level. Those girls appealed it. They won on the appeal, which is where it's at now. So now she is appealing it to their version of the high court. So now, but their law over there in Europe is much more favorable to influencers. Here, though, in America, here's what she has to show. Because the first lady, is considered a public figure. She has to show that Candace Owens said what she said with what's called actual malice. What's tricky is actual malice doesn't mean, oh, I'm super, super mean. But what it does mean is actual malice means you have to show that Candace knew or suspected at the time that she said what she said, that it wasn't true. So it either has to know it, or she has to have said it with reckless disregard. And evidence of that includes, because reckless disregard means I didn't check my sources. That's how come in Tasha K's situation, she ultimately was on the hook for the punitive damages, because for something as simple as she accused Cardi B of an STD and other stuff. With that STD, I think Cardi B had the proof that it wasn't true. She saw the proof and she still would not retract her statements. So it means you didn't check your sources, or you saw the source and still did not retract your statement. I think in Tasha's case, I don't think Cardi B shared the results, but the results existed and she wasn't checking her sources. That's what created malice in the Tasha K example. Here with Candace Owens, Candy Girl, direct evidence of malice, which is what has to be showed, would be stuff like that Candace knew it was false, that somewhere Candace admitted that it was false, or that Candace ignored sources or altered facts to make it true. So if she ignored sources that showed her, hey, this isn't true. One thing that is going for First Lady is that because First Lady already won the lower court ruling that said, no, she's not a man. As a journalist, as Candace calls herself, as Candy Girl calls herself, Candy had a responsibility to look and dig and look at those lower court things that confirmed she, in fact, is a lady. Not a lady boy, but a lady. So what you're not allowed to do in the media is you cannot run around and make claims without first at least fact checking your sources. That's how come when you watch like 60 Minutes or even like 2020, they'll tell you a story about some weirdo that did something, or a celebrity, and then they'll say, we reached out to them for comment, but at the time of publication, we didn't receive a comment. That's all they have to do. That would protect Candace from due diligence. If she had reached out to the Macrons and said, hey, are you a lady boy? And they said, absolutely not. Absolutely not. That's good enough. Then Candace could go back on her channel and she could be like, look, I called over to her house. I called over to the palace, and because I thought that was a lady boy. And I said, listen, ma'am, sir, are you a lady boy? And I asked, and she said, no, I'm not a lady boy. She could say that, and she would have been covered. That's not what she did. So in turn, there is it. No, I'm not a lady boy. I'm a lady. I'm a lady. And she would have do it like that. You see what I'm saying? My job here, listen, I'm your legal bestie. My job here is just to give you enough legal education so if you repeat some stuff drunk at brunch, you still sound smart. Okay? That's all I got to do here. I hope this has helped you to better understand the Candace Owens saga. We will keep posted, but it looks like Candace is going to have a bit of a burden given that these other ladies, and thank you, Vanessa. I do see you. Oh, love you, Vanessa. That Candace had evidence that on the lower court over there in France, it was determined she ain't a lady boy. Okay, she's not a lady boy. Okay, this is just a lady. She's a lady. Therein lies the confusion. I want Candace to go to jail. I'd love her to go to jail. She's not going to go to jail in the next 3 years because Trump is still in office. But, well, she is black. Wait, I forgot about that. I keep forgetting she's black. And now she's starting to speak out against him. She can go to jail. The point is that the two lawsuits, the European suit have a different standard. The American suit has a different standard. When you compare the two, I actually think the First Lady, if she's going to win it all, she has a better chance at winning in America, because Europe saw the whole statement of this lady is a boy. They saw it as free speech. Whereas it's more likely that an American court is going to hear from someone like Candace Owens, who is considered a journalist. I wonder if she'll be at the National Black Journalism Conference. She won't be there because she hates us. Candace Owens considers herself a journalist, and therefore Candace Owens has a higher burden to do due diligence before she says something publicly. And also, Candace can't just spew a fact as her opinion. It is girl or boy is a fact. So therefore, she's not going to be able to just simply run under like, oh, I was giving my opinion. No, your opinion can be she looks like a boy, but you're saying she is just a boy. You can't do that. However, there's one final argument that I think Candace is going to enjoy making that I think is appropriate at this time, which is with defamation. The underlying issue is it has to be something negative, right? Defamation is only something negative. It's not defamation if you run around saying, oh my gosh, this is the prettiest, so-and-so is the prettiest girl in the world and the smartest person I've ever met. Oh, and they're in Mensa. Because smartest person I've ever met is an opinion, but this person's in Mensa. This person's super smart. This person won all the awards because they're the smartest person at my school. Those kinds of things are a compliment, right? Well, I would argue if I were Candace's lawyer, I'd be like, listen, Your Honor, dismiss this case, because even if you find that she said these things with malice, with reckless disregard, or with a failure to investigate the truth of these things, we live in the generation of the transgenders. You know, there's lady boys. That's a real thing. There's lady boys. There's all kinds of things going on, and therefore it is no longer defamatory or an insult to call a girl a boy. Because a girl's a boy's a girl, and everybody is equal. Amen. I try that argument. Okay. It's probably going to lose, but it's not it's like, hey, we're all equal, guys. If we're equal, it's not defamatory to say you're a boy because a boy's I don't know. That's off the top of my head. All right. Last question for the night. Vanessa, are you here? Hey, girl. Candy is a weirdo.
Yes. Hello.
Yes. Welcome. What is your final question?
This is my first time on doing something like this. My cousin just told me that you were on and that I should
I don't have a date.
See you.
Yeah, it's Friday night. I don't have a date or anything to do. So you guys are my date. What?
Okay. So a question is to prove discrimination from termination of your job.
Yes.
How hard is that?
It depends on what kind. Is it? Are you saying race? Gender? Race? Gender?
Race. It would probably be race.
Okay. It really just depends on the facts. Hold on, let me pull it up. All right, so what do you have? The good news is it's the same across all states for the most part. Can you give me some facts? So first, are you an employee or an independent contractor? Because that totally matters. You're an employee, wherever, or whoever you're asking about. Oh, she left. Okay. Bless her heart. Hold on real quick. Yes, you definitely want to go to EEOC. All right. But I'll share this with you guys. Hold on. We're going to just cover this real quick. Bless her heart. She may have gotten cold feet, which is totally fine. That's why I don't make people show their face when they ask their question. A lot of time when I give you guys my thoughts, again, these are just my thoughts and opinion. You always consult with a lawyer in your state, in your area, because these are simply my opinions based on whatever I've just been told. Here, stop that area. Share it. There we are. Boom. It is for discrimination. What the hell? Okay, wait a minute. Something came up. Oh, there we are. Just trying to make sure. Okay, here we are. Okay, great. You're back. Hold on, let me add you back, Vanessa. Or whatever your name is. Okay, there you go. I added you back. Sorry about that. You good?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. One more thing. You've asked, would the fact that Candace called her a perv impact the argument? Absolutely. So a perv isn't simply a perv is a criminal. Especially by perv, I'm thinking pedo. So if she said that, that is defamatory. You're accusing her of a crime. And yeah, American law does not protect that. So maybe Candace can finally, get a little slap on the wrist. So I'm glad you posted that question. All right. So back to you, Vanessa. Vanessa, your question is, what do you have to prove to show racial discrimination on the job, right? Was that the gist?
Yes.
All right. So I got it pulled up. All right. That you belong to a protected class. Number 1, Black, Latino, Native American, whatever. Number 2, that you were qualified for whatever the job was, the job that you were performing adequately. Okay. And number 3, that you suffered what's called an adverse employment action. Ooh, baby. This is where it's important to make sure you're clear. Examples of this mean, of course, fired or demoted. Also denied a promotion or given unfair discipline or paid less than others or subjected to hostile work environment or given taken away really good cases or really good assignments and given really crappy stuff. So for example, me as a lawyer, one thing that the firms would do to Black associates is they would cut your out, they just wouldn't give you work, but you're required to make a certain number of billable hours. So if you can't make the billable hours, then when you go to your annual review, they're gonna be like, oh, well, we gotta let you go because you didn't make your hours. No, but as a result of my protected class and other issues in a hostile work environment, you have not given me assignments, knowing if you don't give me the assignments, you're then going to use that as pretext to not promote me. So basically they do things so that you can't make your measurables, whatever your measurables are for your task. And then lastly, it says similarly situated employees of a different race are treated more favorably. Those are just basics. Does that help?
So according to, this is Pennsylvania state law, they're an at-will state.
Yeah.
So basically, if one was fired for something that did not happen, an employee lied and they gave no kind of warning right up. Yes, and they just terminated. And then 2 weeks before that terminated another minority, and then 2 weeks before that terminated another minority. But was told that basically by another lawyer, it's very hard to prove defamation. Discrimination.
It absolutely is. What state are we talking? New York?
Pennsylvania.
You said Pennsylvania. Okay, got it. It is hard, but what you're describing, I would try to look at it under. Remember, I outlined what you need to show to prove it. One of the things is that you suffered what's called an adverse employment action.
Adverse.
One of those could be. Oh, no. The fourth element, the last one, was that similarly situated employees are treated more favorably. So if what you're saying is, I didn't get the due process of, there's a policy and procedure of how you let go of someone. You're supposed to do this, and then, you write a report, and then the other person gets to understand what they're being accused of, and then there's a meeting, and in the meeting, they get to say, I didn't do this, and bring any evidence to support them. Whatever was supposed to happen. If I was not given the chance to, so the example here they have is a white coworker with a similar performance and experience was not fired, was promoted, or wasn't written up for the same conduct. In your situation, it sounds like you're given a different procedure, perhaps in others in the company. And it could be other Black people as well, but if other Black people and white people, etc., what happens is it could be alleged that they did not follow protocol because they wanted to just let go of you for improper reasons.
So do you think that I should reach out to another lawyer and
when you say another, you mean other than me, or did you already talk to somebody?
Oh no, yes, I called one when it first occurred, and they're the ones who said it's very hard to prove discrimination or even defamation.
Yeah, defamation is a harder one. I don't even use the word defamation, just use the word discrimination when you call. Because discrimination triggers an insurance policy, which means the lawyer knows if they take your case and if they feel like they can win your case, they're guaranteed payment because it's going to come from an insurance company, not even your corporation. It's going to come from Allstate or Travelers or Liberty Mutual, who insures the the employment discrimination cases that come about. Same way as if there's an auto accident. So I would say, yeah, I absolutely ask a different lawyer. Don't use defamation words. Use discrimination. And then I have a feeling it sounds like you work for a corporation, a company, or a system. I don't know if it's a medical system or whatever. Do a search for discrimination cases against that company, that association, that system, whatever it's called. And you're going to find one. I feel like you're going to find one and call that lawyer. Because if you've already that lawyer who's already beat the brakes off of them is going to be most likely and most interested in taking your case. I've had cases, like I had a case where my client was severely injured in a particular way after a particular procedure that they received. And they kept wanting to go after the doctor who did the procedure. And there was something about it. And I was like, what is it called again? And I did my research. I went to the FDA's website and I didn't come to find out the procedure had been recalled and had all these issues. And I went and I found a law firm who had beat the brakes off of them for performing that procedure. And then we joined forces and then my client became a millionaire.
Wow.
So try that. Is what I would say.
Thank you so much. This was so random to log on. So I appreciate you. Thank you.
Too. Feel free to DM me and give me an update later. Okay, guys. Okay. Yeah, it's Friday night. I really appreciate you. It's Friday night. I love spending time with y'all. I hope you guys have a great night. And then drop below. I saw somebody else say you want me to get into the Epstein files. I'm glad you said that because I have started and stopped him. I've literally started reading stuff and then fell asleep. I'm going to work on that for this week. All right. Let me know what other topics you want me to cover. I hope you guys have a great weekend. It's your legal bestie, Attorney Simone.